Well, it's 1 o'clock in the morning on December the 14th, and where are we at? I spent the rest of the day yesterday. I got the stuff uploaded, did all the filing I needed to do, and started doing the write up. I got the write up about halfway done. I also lost a lot of time just on the internet messing around. Um, I should be a little bit or a lot more um, disciplined when I'm doing that. That's something to take note of. But that was the case of how I spent yesterday morning. I guess I fell asleep around noon. All right, I was up around 7. Like I said, it's about 1 now, so I spent the evening. Again, was not the most disciplined evening, but I did finish the write-up. The next thing to do is to get the actual physical cover art done up. But I'm going to stop and get something to eat first. What we're going to do right now is we're going to go ahead and close inri020 on the vlog, the thing that I do for all the releases. So let's have a talk about this. 2 seconds. Okay, I thought we were recording there. Strange. Okay, so inri019, it's the EP single for the Boogeyman. And I've been working on it for, I guess, the better part of the last month. I compiled it on the 13th along with the rest of the other ones. My initial experiments were on the 21st, but it's certainly been the thing it's been my main focus since, I guess, the 28th of November. So, that's about 2.5 weeks. It's a good chunk of time. And what was I doing with it? Well, I initially just wanted to do a vocal mix like the rest of them, right? But as I was cutting it to put it into the record, and I mean, I'm kind of repeating myself here. Maybe we should just talk about more about the track is about, and I mean, I think I'm repeating myself on that too. There should be at least more separation between the alter reality and the reconstruction. I guess I'm running 2 different alter realities, aren't I? The one in real time 20 years ago, and the one that I'm doing in construction. The construction one should start moving much faster now. In fact, hopefully I'll get back to 2003 within a few months. But I mean, yeah, we talked about this as I was doing it, right? Built this whole process piece out of it by staggering it, and then brought the vocals in, and then which one do I want to use for the album mix? We talked about that. So, I mean, I go over to my write up, but we went through this in the vlog, so why would I summarize myself? That would be silly. I can talk a little bit about the track though. It sounds back to this. I mean, it's probably I'm pretty sure it's the oldest track I've got, because it's the only one that I'm certain was written in my mom's basement on Farriers Lane in Ottawa. It's the only track that I'm certain was written there, and that's what I was doing as I was recounting an experience that I have attached to that house, which is running to the door and locking it because the boogeyman was going to get us. And it's encapsulating kind of a concept thread, right? I think it's a concept that I think it was formative on me. I mean, it's easy to make that claim, right? I have one song from the period, so that must have been might not be necessarily true, and I mean certainly it wasn't the most important thing in my life or anything, but obviously it was important enough for me to take note of and write a song about, and it's even the initial recording in 1996 was able to kind of capture that feeling of innocence from when it was written. There was a significant gulf there, right? I don't remember exactly when I wrote it, but if it was in late 1993, that's 3 years. Even if it was early 1994, it's still like 2.5 years, right? So, and the song had been run through so many different shifts and changes. You can hear it in the initial version, right? It's kind of um, it sounds overly written, overly constructed. It's just like there's this one part in the middle, just the guitar part that I took out completely when I redid it, right? But I was still nonetheless able to capture that kind of childlike innocence that I must have had when I was initially writing it, right? Um, I guess over time the track kind of lost it lost its feeling, right? I only really kind of rediscovered that this year, kind of as I was remixing it, pulling out all of the different parts and everything else, realizing that okay, like I remembered it. Most of the other tracks I didn't need to have my memory triggered. I think maybe it's because like most of the other tracks had a phase in 1999. This track didn't really. I mean, it was tacked onto the second record at the. I mean, the second record is an outtakes disc, and we'll talk about that soon. I mean, it's not literally, but kind of. It's kind of in between, right? There was the second of a two record sequence, and but that always works. The second one gets the stuff that wasn't on the first one, right? They didn't make the cut for the first one, but I mean, when it gets released, it's because somebody thinks it's strong enough to get released, right? So, in the end, I mean, I did think it was, but this particular track I never engaged with in the second time, um, which is probably, like I say, why I had to re-remember it because the distance was greater and I'd forgotten about it. But when I did, I mean, obviously, I'm not feeling the same thing now that I was then, and that wouldn't be possible. But I was able to at least understand it from an artistic distance, right? And I just wanted to kind of recapture that and maintain it, rather than this kind of disconnected kind of feeling I had um, with the version that as I redid it initially, which is why it was thrown away more or less. Um, so I mean, this is I mean all of these tracks, I'm talking about, I'm recounting something or working something through or whatever else. This was like even from the first recording, it was so far removed, And then when I went to redo them, I didn't it didn't feel relevant to me at the time, right? So it's more. I think that the disconnecting myself from it is the right way to do it, right? To try to get that distance because I mean even I've said a few times that I don't really recognize myself in the stuff that I wrote in 95 and 96, 97, right? I don't really start to recognize myself until the stuff I started writing around the year 2000. That's when I start to really recognize myself, right? This is before, like I say, I wasn't even a teenager at the time when I wrote it, right? So it's even that much further distant. Um, I don't think there's another way to approach it besides that distance, and that's what I'm trying to kind of get across in the write up and the final version. Um, as I was finally doing it, I kind of got there's a point I went over with the vlog, and we talked about that. But again, I'm just repeating. This is are these right? Are these closings even meaningful? When I think they were for some of the other ones because I was just I didn't just go through it in the vlog, right? I was like, even if I had vlogged a part of it, I was talking about something that had happened, months before. This is like a couple of days ago. The vlogs aren't even published yet, so you know. Um, but still, I mean, I just felt the need to close the circle on it. Um, and ultimately, that's what the single is. I'm trying to recapture the initial essence of the track, close the idea, and ultimately close the project. I still have a lot of write up to do for INRI material, and some tracks will come up that were unpublished. I mean, they're going to be mostly remixes, but like the tracks aren't completely, sorry, the records aren't completely closed yet. There will be some minor mods, but as far as actually like the creative process for that entire phase of my, I don't want to use the word career, but entire phase of my output of my artistic life, it's I'm closing down an entire you know phase of that. So there was some weight kind of attached to it, right? Um, and I probably wouldn't have done it otherwise. I didn't redo the vocals for Useless or any of these other tracks. Permission, I probably could, but well, I know I could. There would be some reason to do it, but I'm not going to. This is really the end of the road on this detour that, like I say, has taken a year and a half. All of 2016 and the second half of 2015. Black hole of reconstruction. It's done. I'm rewriting things. I'm not even even the write-ups from here are mostly done. Right? Just about there. Just about there. I'm gonna finish. Well, let's stop and start. I'm running this time, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna finish up to the end of January because that's the end of the period 1.2, right? Period 1.1 was just the first couple of demos, right? Period 1.2 is from inri3, which is inri sampled, all the way up to inri. It's gonna be inri025, which is the inri cited. And then period 1.3 starts with the 2 Hold single, which I'm taking off the record, but I mean it belongs to there, right? And then all that stuff that comes afterwards is in the next section. So I'm gonna finish period 1.2, and then I'm gonna catch up with the Ultra Reality, catch up with the vlogging, and then get back to period 1.3 afterwards. So it's gonna be a few more days still for period 1.2 before Christmas, absolutely. Like I said, there's no mixing or anything. And well, I saw those 3 tracks for Enrich to mix. I'll do that tonight. But and it's only what 2, 3, 4. It's 4 compilations, right? And they're just compilations, and they're done. So it's a question of doing it. So it's Wednesday morning, Tuesday vlog, Wednesday morning. I'm not gonna get that done today, but we'll talk tomorrow. It won't be long. So it's about 7 o'clock in the morning, and the album cover back is done. The write-up's done. Got the cover art finished and everything, so inri020 is behind me. The next thing to do is finish those 3 tracks here on inri021. It's the record. It's the last 3 tracks. And then it's to compiling for a while. Okay, it's a little after 8 a.m. and I'm about to produce some outputs for the record. These are chosen because they fit patterns. And I think in the end, they'll probably be what I end up sticking with for the reason that the continuity is most important when you're listening. These tracks are already mixed, basically. It's just how do I want to place them into the record, right? But I mean, I need to actually listen, and that means a lot. So I'm gonna go ahead and run these 3 tracks to the transforms I want to run them through, save them, upload them. It does look like I'm gonna add an extra mix to the circus single. I have to remember not to do that. Sorry, I have to remember not to forget to do that. I'll just add it on at the end. Um, but I mean, it's I can't come to a when it's parked right in the middle of the record like that, and the beginning part is done for sure, and the ending part, sorry, the part before it is done for sure, and the part after it is done for sure. Um, the only way you can really tell if the equalization decisions that you're making for that middle sequence are right is to listen to it a whole bunch of times, and um, like you can't, you gotta listen all the way through. So listen to the effects of the first 7 tracks, and then have the eighth, sorry, the first 8 tracks, and then have the ninth come in, and then get through from 9 to 11, and then listen to track 12 come in. And what's making that complicated here is the um, ubiquity of the interference. So I just need trial and error. Do everything I can to keep the noise down, and just sit down and listen to it. I also feel like I want to kind of go back a little bit and redo some of that for some of the first track, some of the last couple of singles. Especially the last 2, I don't feel I really spent enough time with them. I spent more time with them walking, but it's not the same. So, when I'm done outputting these tracks, the focus is going to be the listening for probably the next 2 or 3 days. It's all compiling after that, but I gotta be certain about this because then I'm gonna be. It's really just the circus track, but it's still gotta be done. As far as the putting tracks back, I can't go back and do what I want to do with the last couple of singles to permanently. I mean, they're closed, but to be really sure about it until I finish the record first. That means I am coming offline. You're not going to hear this for a month, but I mean, that's what I'm doing. And just listening for the rest of the day, probably all day tomorrow. Listen.